I love this intro.
I'm gonna say Yuki Kajiura.
Oh, did you type this?
Yeah, I typed all of this.
Oh,
These are my notes I take every single time.
Oh, well, guess what? You said not to do extra work. I was
No,
under the impression I could.
this is always what I do. I always take
Don't
notes.
do, like the pathing for the conversation. You were saying, don't do that. You were saying.
You
You
can
remind
take
me-
notes. In fact, for you especially,
Sorry.
I'd recommend notes.
I'd be
Why?
recommended. This
Fuck
point.
you. I don't need
I
notes.
mean, during your last one, you kind of zoned out for a while. And didn't know what we were talking about. So,
that was for something different.
Sure.
You take a step of it.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna say that the music is probably one of the best parts. Yuki Kajiura does some amazing work.
What's some of the other work he's done?
Some of the other work she's done, actually.
I apologize.
Oh,
She's done a lot of great stuff.
sexist.
Hold on.
Sexist.
Nor,
interrupting
X
him.
Sign, Aquamarine Age, Madlax, Maihime, Mayatome, Pandora Hearts,
I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
that
one of
was a
those
good
was a
one.
hentai.
That was a good one.
Madayoka, Magia, Fate Zero, Sword Art Online,
Oh,
Tsubasa,
Fate Zero.
or Chronicle, Kara no Koyuki, movies, among
Oof.
others.
Okay,
She
so
also
she's her.
assisted
Mhm.
in Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Destiny, has also composed for video games, including Xenosaga 2 and Xenosaga 3. She also composed music for NHK's April 2014 morning drama, Asadora. I don't know what that is.
Oh, but that is.
But-
Okay. That was the sounds, the music specialist. I did
Yes.
hear about it a long time ago.
I heard Zero and Sword Art Online.
Also, Pandora Hearts. That's a really good one. If anyone hasn't watched it, should watch it still.
I'll look up that image to see if I
I
watched
remember her most from Xenosaga and this. I used to play a lot of the Xenosagas. Unfortunately, they're very expensive.
I
here and
remember her
don't
from
know a lot of
this, and Sword Art Online. Sword Art Online had fucking awesome fight music.
it. Yes, it did.
Like every fight scene had great music. Have you ever looked at the video of all the Sword Art fights without music? They all suddenly suck.
Oh, it's that one with the bunny girl, right? That's the anime credit.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah, it is. It's yeah.
It was a
Everyone
good
has-
one.
if you actually are interested in seeing more about her music, there's this actually on the soundtrack for this show. So, in the soundtrack guide, in the booklet they give you, but it's actually more than most game guides nowadays. She goes in depth on certain interviews on the songs and the meaning behind them, and the decision she came to making them. And it's a pretty good read.
That's
But I'm
good to
not going
hear.
to force that on anybody because most people don't care about the artist, what they think about the show.
No,
Wow.
I hated Sword Art
Wow,
Online.
kinda, just a little, just kind
No,
of.
no, I know this for a
burn.
fact. I started talking about musicians once or twice, and people who did not care were like, giving me the look to shut the fuck up. And I'm like, what? It's good. It's one of the main parts of the show.
No,
music.
I look up. No,
The
My
music
Hero
sucks and it's
Academia's
terrible.
music. I love the composer's work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are you sure you just don't like You Say Run?
No, you say Run, Hero A. I Am Here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wanted to make sure because I was like, don't say you like composed work when you like one song.
Hey, it's a very good song. Hey,
And
it was the gateway
Okay.
drug.
and this song is great. It's like this band is great. It's like no, you like one song, sir. One song.
Hey,
There's not many
they've
bands
only released
good.
one album. That's their whole library. Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
you need to wait for more content before you make an opinion.
I made an opinion. Fuck you.
Your opinion is irrelevant because you don't have enough content to base off your opinion. Because you're an insane bastard.
I am an insane bastard.
Exactly. So you invalidate yourself.
I do.
Yeah. See?
Let me off this crazy plane.
We all know you're a spy for the mermaid mafia, so you know it's just irrelevant.
So,
Okay, so
Shout
the
out.
music was really good in the show. I will definitely agree with the music there.
music other than okay, you go. Sorry for cutting you off, buddy.
Oh no, I was gonna jump to something else. Go ahead, you're gonna talk about the
Okay.
music.
I love the intro song. I listened to it a total of 5 times during the 28 episodes. That is
Wow.
way more than any other anime
Mhm.
other than Attack on Titan, which I listen to every single time.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like the intro song is very catchy, along with a lot of the other music in the show.
Yeah, a lot of the other music in
the music was just well written into the story. It's like they used the music as a storytelling tool, which you don't see a lot, strange enough, in anime. You know, because I mean, using the right song at the right time, even just when characters are talking and you got music playing quietly in the background, completely will change the environment of a scene in the way you see it. And they do it really well on the show.
One of my favorite things about it, too, is that they're not afraid to use vocals. Usually in anime, they're very afraid to use vocals. Yep. But this, they just went all out for. And, like, even when characters are talking, soft place vocals in the background. Really nice touch every now and again.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of an advantage of it being a little older. They were willing to... Nowadays, kind of the boundaries are set with anime on, like, what to do and what not to do in general, for the most part, especially when it comes to music.
Yeah.
You know, so they're able to go a little bit more outside the box. So, going back, it's always kind of refreshing to see how much has changed.
The more interesting things that come up.
Well, it's different to see what's changed in anime.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's another good example. Just how much anime have just changed in general from nowadays to back then.
I'm gonna post a small list of some of my favorite songs. Now, this doesn't mean all the other ones are bad. Like, for instance, Fear is a really good creepy soundtrack for when the show gets really creepy. However, on its own, doesn't really stand up that great of as a song, but when paired with the show and the visuals, really nice. So
yeah, it matched the element together.
Yeah, when it doesn't actually match, when it doesn't actually work properly, that's a bit of an issue.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry. This is probably not what you're referring to when you say creepy, but the first thing I thought of was when they really didn't know how to draw a close up most of the time, so the eyes were just like super far apart.
Yeah.
And it was really just
that was a bit of the style.
It's a bug. It's a video game.
Okay, you're gonna blame that on everything?
We call that Mass Effect Andromeda.
No, but I remember a while ago, certain animes from certain studios look like that because it's very hard to do that consistently for
that
like 20 plus episodes.
This, and those are usually more goofy shows where they do that.
I don't know.
They usually use it as more of a comedical thing. You know, because the goofy eyes just kind of look funny, so it kind of.
There was only two that I really noticed. One was Bear, and I forget what episode because I didn't write it down. But Bear wrote it down, but Bear, he gets a zoom in on his face one time. It just looked odd. And Subaru, I believe once, looked weird from the side, but that's all I really noticed. It wasn't too apparent for me at all. I can only think of two situations.
It was really apparent for me. It was really apparent for me.
I got my laughs from it, and I moved on. I didn't think about it too much, you know. I was like, "Oh, that's funny," and then moved on. I didn't care too much about it. You know, I was a little bit annoyed with how many different directions they wanted to tell the narrative in, rather than characters' eyes.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's get into the characters now. I would say we talked about the music, characters. So main character.
Can you say his name? Let's go by true meaning of it. And yes, we do know it's a her, but I'm still going to call it it.
What are you talking about? Tsukasa? Or are you talking about Mamoru?
Tsukasa.
Because in the beginning, it is more based around Mamoru. It's only towards the later where it ends up being... There's actually...
Even when it's around Mamoru, we already know the stories about Tsukasa.
Well, if the main character is whoever the story is based around, then I would say Tsukasa.
Yeah, that's the point. Like, the whole narrative is driven around
However,
Tsukasa.
that would also change...
They were just using Mamoru as the point at which to tell that narrative at that time.
However, that would also kind of change a bit of... Like, for instance, JoJo would also be a bit more of Dio's story at times.
Well, you see, again, it's the differences of how the narrative's told. Okay, it's like it's not 100% the main character. It's just the perspective in the center of the camera. It's who the narrative's saying the main character is. In JoJo, it says Jotaro's the main character. They make that clear in that regard.
But there's multiple episodes where Tsukasa is just nowhere to be seen for the entire.
Oh yeah, no,
for the entirety of the episode.
He doesn't need. But yeah, that's a part of his character, though. He doesn't need to be on screen at all times.
He's always in front of everyone's minds.
Yeah,
literally.
They're always thinking and talking about him constantly every episode. Even if he doesn't show up 1 minute in that screen, and if he doesn't show up 1 minute in the episode, they say his name 20 times in that episode, which is once a minute. Okay, so he is the main character. He may not have been the main camera for about.
Or the most
18
interesting
episodes.
character.
Definitely, probably not that, but that's also not saying much.
Bear.
Bear was interesting. I didn't know what his job was.
Yo, daddy.
Yeah, that was more respectable than anything.
That was. Oh no, that was cool. That was
Where
cool.
he just outright says, you know what, when you get out of here, I'll pay for your ticket.
I'm gonna adopt you and I'm gonna send you to a fancy school.
Just goes right on and says it. It's like, oh wow.
No, that was cool.
Taking BT's bitchiness and actually turning it into being a really good thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And there may be sort of.
I like how I know her name too, BT. I thought that was funny because I always just looked at it as bitch tendencies. So, like the name actually matches personality.
BT is probably the most annoying character because of how fickle she is the whole time. Where she's tossing between sides. Like, even Sora is more reasonable. And that's when it gets...
Sora.
Sora's fun. He's a bit of he's the
one. Let me make a sexist joke.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That's all women. Okay, continue.
What?
So we kind of skipped over Tsukasa, but is there anything anybody wants to say about Tsukasa before we continue?
It was interesting watching Tsukasa, evolve as a character.
Yeah.
Story. I was a little no. What the part that got me part that I liked about it was the whole amnesia thing, which was really overplayed in anime as a cliche, but the way they did it, I liked.
It was just kind of an undertone, and whenever it was brought up, he got kind of confused. Stopped talking.
It was a change of pace, and it wasn't like the main focus.
It wasn't like I don't know what I am.
He didn't start bringing up morality too hard with it. Like he didn't go hard on the morality.
The only time he actually got confused, he started getting metaphorical and not metaphorical. What's the
philosophical.
I studied philosophy. Why am I having trouble with the name? When he started getting philosophical, it only really happens when he gets data drained hard. When he gets data drained the first time by the Guardian, and he comes back to life, and he's like, "Am I even alive? Is this even my existence? Is this real me or is this the fake me?" Yeah. And then the second time he gets data drained, he just gets put into a pretty much catatonic state.
Well,
where he can't really do anything.
He did kind of have all of his memories like randomly re-put together.
He had to. It's something about
twice. It was like the data that he initially had and the data he currently had got jumbled together, and it just kind of created a huge mess in his head when he revived.
So Poison, that probably didn't mean much to you because you didn't play the games, but data drained is basically what happens when you get data drained. Is all of your data from your character gets sucked into whatever's draining you. So if you're like level 99 and you have a ton of equipment and gear and stuff, not going to hurt you as bad. You're going to lose a bunch of your levels and a bunch of your stuff, but you're probably not even going to get a coma. Silver Knight got data drained, went into a coma, and that was him playing in front of a terminal. So this is serious when Tsukasa gets data drained, because his consciousness is literally inside of his character. So when he gets data drained, he's losing memories and parts of himself. So that's why that's a bit more serious. And then when he gets hard data drained by the one entity, because I know she has a name, but I think her
name's Morgana. I think her name is, if I remember right.
Oh, I know.
Yes.
The voice. Yeah, one second. I'll reconfirm it, but
when he gets data drained hard, gets data drained hard and becomes crippled mentally and physically, that's why it's so serious. He doesn't become a vegetable. He can still move and he's trying to regain his senses, but it's
just
the weirdest way
mentally
possible. He's not capable of doing anything.
Also, can I ruin the spoiler? It's a girl.
Everyone who's seen this has watched it. No spoiler.
Yeah.
It's a girl.
I doubt anyone's watching it, but good. It is a girl. I literally said that like 5 times earlier.
Stop calling him a boy.
I call it a her.
It's fine, anything. It's just call it he or she, because Tsukasa for the majority of the show actually believes he's a guy because his memories are so fucked.
His memories were altered when he was trapped into the game by Morgan.
And all he remembers is his abusive childhood of his father raising him like a boy, even though he was really a girl. I believe his father was raising... Because there's a scene that I didn't notice the first time I watched it, but like, what is it, episode 23, there's like a quick scene of him in front of a police officer, and the police officer doesn't look sad. It kind of looks sad in that shot. That's because she realizes he was being raised. She was being raised as a boy, and didn't actually want to like she regretted calling the father afterwards, because all Tsukasa stole was a bra and a toothbrush. Like a training bra and a toothbrush. That's pretty grim when you're a police officer and you see that. You're like, that's...
Yeah. And it was upside down for some reason.
It's meant to be upside down because the world is meant to be the... For instance, no, it wasn't upside down in that scene.
Yes,
that scene wasn't upside down.
Yes, it was.
No, it wasn't. The bra was on the ground. What are you talking about? That scene was not upside down.
Yes, it was.
Some scenes are upside down, yes, but that one was not.
No, that scene was upside down. Go check. I'll go check. Let me rephrase that. You guys continue the conversation. I need to prove a point that I'm right, so I get some right points.
Okay. So, Shadow, what's your opinion? What do they call it? Your opinion on the Crimson Knight?
I think they're a really cool concept. I think...
Wow. I am shocked you said something like that out loud.
No, Reddit. I would have suspected he would say that.
You see, I didn't think he would even be able to say that out loud, because I literally think they're like one of the worst organisms ever. They're completely just atrocious. And just hysterically concept too. They make no sense.
The players
all there is to help enforce the administration.
Yeah, but again, that makes no sense because they're making up their own rules. The fact is, like, for example, the whole show they're hunting down
Crimson. They have a very Subaru has a very specific set of rules.
Yeah, but those rules are all objective. It's just her own opinions.
Poison, in the beginning of the scene, she is upside down, but afterwards it writes itself.
Okay.
And after he gets slapped, it becomes, from the moment the father shows up, it gets righted.
Okay.
Like I thought they were a whole organization. I thought they were really just. Yeah. There was a concept just kind of annoyed me throughout the whole show.
They're meant. Okay, what was the most annoying part about it?
What was the annoying part? Was just them in general, their whole concept, the way they acted. You know, I mean, Subaru was the only likable person in that group, and not because of what she did in the group.
Krim was in that group.
Krim was not in that group during the show. He was in the past.
Yeah, but he was the.
So we didn't know about Krim though. Krim didn't even appear till like episode 5 in the show.
So you didn't like Silver Knight at the end?
It's like, and then
I like Silver Knight at the end when he wasn't an asshole.
Yeah, when he became normal and he was just like kind of just being himself, mean to me, like it was cool then. But most of the show, he was kind of just a stuck-up prick, and the whole organization was filled with stuck-up pricks who are giant hypocrites.
It's one of those.
And it was really stupid. Yeah. It's also stupid. It's like, oh, there's a PK. Okay, let's go bind him and tell the GMs about this man who PKing people, which is a mechanic.
Not in town.
Into the game. Not in towns.
You're not supposed to do it in towns.
The game. But then the GMs can just lock that feature, though.
Well, they can and they can't. It gets difficult when you talk about because like data drain, kite shouldn't exist. It exists.
I understand
the whole issue with aura and stuff shouldn't exist, and it exists.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand, but a basic feature like disabling PvP.
It's because you have full control over your character. Is the reason it exists.
Which is weird.
You can draw your blade in a town.
Are they? Do they have full control over their characters?
They do. If you're using the headset, you do have full control over your character.
No.
But even when they had the headset, they had a controller.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have a controller. Sometimes they have the headset. Sometimes they have a mix.
With a controller, there's not enough buttons, and there's no way you're gonna be able to get the inputs in.
There's a reason the headset turns you into a coma. There's a reason the headset puts you into a coma.
Yeah, no, it's like that was also really kind of annoying in the show. It's kind of like, is this an MMO? Is this a VR MMO?
It's a VR.
I understand what it is, but it seems like they forgot that part still, and it just kind of felt weird, because sometimes they were treating it like it wasn't a VR MMO, and other times they were treating it like it's a hardcore VR MMO, and it's like they could never find a solid ground on it.
I don't know where you're coming at with that.
Just the way the characters
I get what he was saying.
The characters just interacting kind of in general, just create a weird feeling in general, because it was like
Yeah.
they were kind of like saying one thing and then doing another, and then kind of saying another thing. It's like,
Yeah, like for example, I love how in one scene they just sat down crisscross applesauce like you do in WoW. Like I could do it right now. You just sit down crisscross applesauce and
All
so that's
characters
all you
have
do.
different sitting animations in WoW.
Well, my character sits crisscross applesauce like a real woman does. And then she suddenly gets a T emotion. And then stops mid animation. Delete.
No, because she's going to get tea and she's taking off her headset. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, she was taking off her headset.
why does she have a controller though?
Because
Like everyone who's seen like playing the video game has a controller.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that controller?
You somewhat get control over your character. It's that handles basic overall movement, and it reads you, and you do the majority of the other movements. It's basically, think of it like this: you press a button, and it unlocks. You press a button and goes from you to your character, or you can just take off your headset. Like if you press that button, you're acting in the character, but if you're not, you're just using the controller. And you have a more basic moveset.
But
most people don't use
basic show. In the basic show, they didn't really go over that, so we
no, they don't, because there's no real point to.
Yeah, there's no point to, but it's just overall, I was just saying, just the way the characters interacted, the way the characters talked to each other, kind of just created that feel in the show where it was like, we know what it is.
Yeah, it's like it can
hard
be
to explain. It's like it's hard for me to put the words for a specific scene because it was just a whole compilation throughout the show that just kind of created that feel. It's like where you just kind of like looked at it, it's like I know it's the VR MMO, but it doesn't feel like it right now. Like the way they're acting, like it's just I don't know, man.
It was a weird experience.
It was weird. I have no idea how to put it to words. Or at least
I do.
I don't even know where you're coming from because I never saw that.
I get it.
Yeah.
But okay. Back to the Crimson
You have
Knights.
to like notice it,
they're
and
just
then
giant hypocrites. You know, and that just annoyed
That's because of Silver Knight and Subaru got complacent.
Idiotic and just made no sense.
They're not idiots.
It's like it just felt like there was no reason for them really to exist in the game, and like
they exist because the admins can only do so much because their game that they created gives the players a bit too much control over what happens.
So you give an organization free reign and privilege.
You don't give them free reign. Subaru says countless times what her goals are to Silver Knight. They're meant to aid in system administration issues. They're not there to be actually the police, which Silver Knight is kind of forcing. He
I
expects
understand
to be
that.
the police, but
like the GMs never did anything when they went to those screens. Like, why would the GM the whole attack on Tsukasa? That was pretty massive to say the least.
Yeah,
but it was binding an illegal character.
Doesn't matter. You're still binding a person regardless.
Yeah, and at any time they could take off their headset and leave the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really... And they would come back in, and they would still be there.
They would still be captured, exactly. Yeah. So basically, they're just kind of like preventing the person from doing anything, which again...
Until they stop their illegal activities. But all they would have to do, all the person would have to do is contact the admins.
Couldn't someone else bind them? Like,
no.
Let's say...
That's a Silver Knight's privilege given to... That's a privilege the Silver Knights have been given. I'm assuming.
It is not a privilege.
I believe you can get a binding seal on the dungeon.
No.
Tie him
you
up.
Can't actually... No, they don't. Because guys, remember? Shay... Spear Dude. Binded... Sasaki. I don't know his name.
You mean Krim.
Yeah, Krim
the Red Lightning binded Tsukasa, helped bind Tsukasa. He didn't bind it. He told the knights to bind him after he distracted him.
Yeah, but if he didn't bind him, then he should have still been able to leave.
Then you have to use a Sprite Arena or a Warp Gate.
Yeah, which they had a special barrier up to prohibit the use of. They said that earlier, going into that.
When they teleport him to that area, he was unallowed to. Or when they even when he went into that trap, he was basically fucked.
He was unable to tell him.
The biggest issue was the Guardian and whatnot.
Yeah, and he would have been fine if Krim didn't show up. And if the Guardian could aim, because how the hell did it miss that giant pig he was riding? I don't know. The thing literally pulled a storm. It went from like, any shooter, legendary, like any legendary shooter, the fucking stormtroopers. Okay. Fucking ridiculous, dude.
More technical sequels, more same.
It's like literally, it's like I seen the one scene, the big joke to right. It shot spears to its left. It's like you're late and you're way off. What is this? It's like you're 2 seconds late and in the opposite direction.
And it's also invincible, but I wonder where its weak point is.
Grunty.
The giant ring on the.
Well, it's assumed it has enough HP. Like you can still hit that ring, but it won't do much. Like only when it's dead. Only when it's dead, it actually dies. It does have HP. It just has an excessively high amount of HP.
Yeah, I know. We get that because we see that later on when they do kill.
Yeah,
it.
I know, but Poison was saying that.
Yeah,
it's
I know.
like it's not a weak point. It just
that's
exists
what
there. It would reconstruct itself, much like the other monsters.
No, not really.
But we don't know that. We've never seen someone just slice it in two.
Yeah, we never seen anyone slice that ring.
No, we don't.
You do. You see somebody slice the ring at the end. I believe somebody kills one of them at the end by slicing
during that fight.
That's when it dies.
We don't know what would happen if they just slice it in two. We don't know what happened.
I mean, I'm assuming it would be like all the other monsters and just reform.
Did you just say the A word?
Yeah, assuming that well, there's literally unkillable monsters in the game that just immediately reform no matter where you hit them.
Then how to die?
Because it hit its HP cap. It has a cap HP. It is an MMO. They do have cap HPs. There's not unkillable enemies in this.
You said unkillable enemies.
Yeah, there are unkillable enemies because normal parties can't take down those enemies. Even good players need a group of people to take down those enemies, because Sora, for instance, wanted to take down the monster, cut it once with a good hit, and saw the wound reform and went, yeah, I'm out of here. Enjoy yourself, Silver Knight. And then he left Silver Knight to get his ass kicked.
So the best player, arguably...
Well, the best player is Krim.
Best player would be Krim that we've seen
Balmog. Balmog shows up, so it'd be Balmog then Krim.
Balmog doesn't show up during the base show, like at the very end.
He shows up to stop an attack and protect Subaru.
Yeah, at the very end. I mean, I don't know. He didn't really wanted to say he's the strongest. I would still give it to Krim for now until later shows. When we get to see more Balmog.
In what we saw,
the reason I know that Balmog's stronger is because I played the game.
I know that. That's the point. We can't go off the game knowledge right now.
Yeah,
I agree.
That's for later.
Balmog's definitely stronger. I mean, the 2 strongest players according to the game is Balmog and Orc at this point. But
also, is a weight dancer just like a support?
Huh? No, it's just like a mage.
General magic.
Okay.
He can use. They can use offensive or supportive or defensive magic.
It's a jack of all trades mage.
There's no classified. I don't think there's classified mages.
There is a classified mage class.
All right. Yeah.
I don't remember what they're called, but there is a class.
In R2, I know there's a difference, but in R1, there's not.
Probably a wizard.
No, it's not called a wizard.
No.
No, they don't use normal.
Oh.
They will never use normal. No.
So we're talking about the Crimson Knights. What else? Mimir, fair.
My favorite Crimson Knight scene was when she disbanded them. Subaru did.
Was great. That was great.
And I was just thinking like, man, that sucks. They had all the same transmog, and now they have to find something new.
It was a really good look, too.
I clapped my hands and I was like, oh, man. Finally, they can actually play the fucking game.
They don't have a giant stick up their ass all the time.
They can play the game. Oh, my God. I can't believe it. People can actually play this virtual MMO.
They were literally the fun police.
No, because the original reason they were formed was to stop players like Sora from being creepy assholes.
I would be a creepy asshole in this type of game. So
okay, you would go up to women and kill them if they don't give you their member address.
Oh hell yeah! Oh yeah, absolutely.
I would do some of that. Some of that would just be like every rogue in WoW, which is just go to a low area now.
Well, people do that. I mean, that's what Subaru...
You can't really do that well.
Fuck, no, that was BT. BT in this.
Yeah.
That was BT. BT helped 2 people out, and they were just newbie crushing.
Yeah. Oh no, I would do it by myself.
No, you wouldn't.
More thrill.
You would lose.
Probably.
I don't know, man. He can pull Kirito. I mean, all that matters is the number.
No, the numbers. But Krim actually says the numbers don't really matter.
Yeah, once you get to Cap. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, no, because Cap's easy to hit.
Well, he says once you hit Cap, numbers don't matter. It comes down to guts. But until Cap, if I'm level 50 and there's 2 level 20 players, I'm beating them.
My numbers are higher.
We could pull a Kirito. The Kirito rule does apply.
You could, but also in the world, you don't really get anything for killing another player. You don't get anything for killing other players, I don't think.
They don't clarify that. All we hear people about is just how much time they lost when they got killed.
Because that's all that happens, is you get reverted back to your last save.
That's all they know. Yeah, they get reverted back to the old save.
I mean, technically, you get the in-combat experience, but that's you as a player.
We don't know what sword. I guess maybe he gets their drops that they lost.
No,
maybe he gets them the drops.
Maybe he gets
the satisfaction. We don't know.
Maybe he just loves it.
Because I can talk about in R2 when PvP, you get something. You get general, you get experience based off their level. And some small faction of gold.
That's R2, and that's like 10 updates down the road for the game. That's like version 2 of the game.
Also, by the way, the game, the stupidest game name I've heard in a while.
The World?
The World. I don't like it.
Every time I do, I think of Dio. The World!
No, that's The World, though.
You know, I can't help but think about Dio every time.
I don't have an issue with the name because it's pretty appropriate for what it's trying to be. It's like, here's a world, find your own goal.
It is.
Yeah.
No, it is, yeah.
Again,
problem is, nobody plays the fucking game!
Yeah, because you have to find your own fun. If you like just sitting around and talking, that's fine.
You know what we call those games? They don't give you much
VR
objectives.
chat.
Yeah.
Well, but there is people in WoW that just don't level characters and sit around and talk. There's tons of people like that in WoW, even.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So point is,
I'm saying that's incredibly common.
Guess what you have.
And for if you're like level 60 plus, like Mimiru is relatively high level. It doesn't really matter a whole lot to her if she goes to a dungeon because it starts to scale really high. And once you have all of your equipment and shit, there's no real strong desire to go out and get to 99 because there's no set goal. So, really, if you got yourself to 99, you're basically just eliminating challenge from the majority of the mobs.
So, are there raids?
No, not in the world.
Technically have a raid
world,
crew because parties expand infinitely almost. But
yeah, but the world does not have a raid. No.
There's just really tough areas.
There's just harder areas, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, you got the random glitched monsters thanks to the Morgan, you know, that could technically be raid bosses in a way. But yeah.
Yeah.
I would classify those as world bosses.
But then again, they're not intended to be. They're just bug data.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is the dungeons reset every time you leave the instance, so they can't be a world boss.
Mm-hmm.
You get to load into each dungeon individually. So it would just be like, well, these 4 people are fighting a world boss. They died. Oh, did they come back? Nope. Got to restart from ground one. Like, oh.
So let me ask you this: if this game came out, would you play it?
Yes.
No.
No, I'm agreeing with Fred.
100% yes.
Only reason I would play this game is just purely because it's VR.
Yeah.
The game concept, the way the games of the game are way too simplistic. You could do what you want in the world. The problem is there's nothing to do in the world. It's literally like Dynasty Warriors 9. You know, it's a big world with nothing in it.
Yeah.
No, it would be gearing. My focus would be gearing and getting to max, and then I would find my
own
own
thing to do. And then you would hit that
done.
max gear point, and then you'd be done really fast because it wouldn't take
but games with goals. Well, like World of Warcraft is a game without a goal, also.
No, you still have You do have goals.
You can do the expansion, and that's a bit of fun for a day or two, but there's no real point to doing anything in that because you can see all the content. If your goal is to see all the content, there's a lot in the world. So Poison, if your goal in WoW is to see all the content, you can also do that in the world. If your goal is to do the events, similar to WoW, you can just do that in the world. There's not much of a difference in between the two. It's just depends on how you like things to be told to you.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, in EverQuest, where they didn't have a quest log, and they just like, go find the guy, and you went out and you found the guy. It's one of those based off of the older MMOs.
No, I know.
Back when WoW was still in its adolescence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand where the world's coming from. You know, I just feel like that's one of the things I feel, and then also, you know, the characters, the way the characters are designed and set up, the classes are set up is also really, really, you know, especially in this iteration of it. You know, learning skills, you have to go and buy each skill, and you can buy skills your character can't learn. They don't tell you what skills your character can or can't learn, so you end up buying a bunch of skills your character can't fucking learn, and you gotta bring random fucking people to learn fucking certain skills, and you're like, fuck, I brought on a shitty character now and taught him all these fucking skills because I decided to spend 30,000 fucking gold on a bunch of skills I can't learn because the game decided not to tell me what I can or can't learn.
Skills are adequated via your equipment, not your things. You can buy scrolls to use from the magic shops. Your equipment delegates what you use. I literally just played the game. That's how it is.
What? The game of this anime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dot hack infection.
And that's also bad too. Just that kind of, your armor tells you what skills you have.
I don't think so.
I mean,
and that's why PK is probably a thing a lot of people do.
Well, you know, RNG thing right there, especially for how RNG works in the world. Because what happens if you got a skill you really like, but you got an armor that doesn't have that skill, but it's 5 levels higher, and
the items are usually set, and there's no level cap. If you get a level 30 item, you can use it at level 1. You can be gifted a level 99 weapon and be able to use it. It's the level of the weapon and equipment has no determination over your stats. Has no determination.
I also wouldn't like that. I also don't like that in general too for a game to playing a game like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like GTA for me.
That's much old school, and I love that. I prefer that.
Well, it's kind of like GTA, where you kind of have to do your own, you kind of have to make your own, what do? Let's go do this. I really don't like GTA, so I really wouldn't like this type of game.
Well, I mean, you also really wouldn't like WoW. Because
I
GTA is a lot like WoW. How it's set up. Specific missions that you go do. That you start off at a central point. Dungeon Finder, LFG.
Yeah, but there's a lot more.
Start from the point, usually.
There's a lot more content in WoW. Also, GTA was a lot. So let's just say you and me get on and was like, hey, tennis. And we play tennis for 10 minutes and then stop. I think we've done that before.
No.
Oh wait, that was young. That was young. I did that with.
Oh God!
I got on.
I'm talking about your imaginary friend.
We all saw him.
And I don't know where this is coming because this isn't actually based off of the show, because the show doesn't really give you any indication. The game is what gives you an indication what the game's actually like. It's not the show.
We're going off the show.
Based off the show, though, it's a game I wouldn't.
That's all I've seen.
I wouldn't want to
This is
play
from a virgin's eye.
It wasn't VR, but it's like the only thing that the game has that seems to grab you is the fact that it's VR.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, meh.
So we talked about the Silver Knights, and we jumped off to the video game, and now
Bear, Mimiru, BT.
Yeah, so maybe Subaru now.
You see, I got my opinion.
Bear, Mimiru, BT.
I already gave my initiation of her, so I already put my out there. Okay.
Anyone have anything to say about Bear?
One of my favorite moments
with
BT was when she confessed to Krim and he just burned her and crushed her.
that was
I
hard.
clap.
That was
brutal.
Well, it's because no one wants to be around BT because they all know what she's like. She's a bit of a bitch and she's not really fun to be around because she's going to turn on you. And even Krim is definitely not the person that would like BT out of anybody. He would be like, yeah, no, thank you.
Well, we don't know what his real personality is like.
Yeah.
And
he even said he's a role player.
Yeah.
And he's all of them are.
Serious role.
All of them are. The world's an RP game.
You know what I mean. it's a difference between going into like, what's her name, sword chick, Mimiru. Who is she role playing as?
Person who liked to help people.
To herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can play as that if that's your character, sure.
No, absolutely. But we're saying Krim
but just playing as yourself isn't role playing.
We're saying Krim, he created a whole other persona that he plays when he's not. He's in his personality is not the same.
You know what we mean when we play.
He's a bit more serious, but like she introduces as her character like, "Hi, I'm Mimiru." She doesn't say, "Hi, I'm Yukihino," or some shit.
No,
yes, and you call me Poison, not.
Yeah.
Do I want to be a poison fire?
I don't care about your name.
Oh.
I don't care about my name, and I don't care about Reddit's name. That's how this works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you wouldn't call this role playing.
No.
I don't know about that, man.
Maybe a small butt.
Okay. I really get into my stories. I think I am the storyteller of this group. Okay.
No, you are not.
I'm not quite as good as storyteller from Desperado, but I think I'm near.
You are nowhere near. How dare you?
You're just jealous of my potential.
Alright, so I'm guessing Subaru got kind of slumped into the Silver Knights, where we talked about her. Sora?
Yeah, like Subaru.
Anyone have anything to say about Sora?
Sora's my favorite character. He is my favorite regular cast member in all honesty with the regular cast. He's entertaining, he's spontaneous, he gives you enough to keep it entertaining. Like he's always there to bring some entertainment. You know, and he shows his personality. Like even from the first time you meet him, you understand exactly how old he is. Mm-hmm. You understand.
He's like 15.
He's like,
he's like 12, 13. He's super young.
No, he's a little older when you see him. No,
you see him. He's really young.
I'd say he's like maybe a freshman.
I'd say he's like 15.
He's like a freshman in high school, dude.
Reddit to the wiki.
I don't think that.
I don't have it in here, dude. The character list is not that good for the show. Here, let me find Sora's specific wiki page.
Because I don't think they say his, unless it was on the calendar writing, which is the one thing that.
Which was in Japanese.
Yeah, which is impossible to subtitle.
Well, it's good. It's okay to subtitle. It's possible to dub. That's why I like subtitles better.
No, that wasn't subtitled.
I know it wasn't subtitled.
No, I'm saying in the sub that's not subtitled.
Did you watch the sub and the dub?
Yeah.
Weirdo.
This is one of my favorite shows. Yes, of course I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you calling that weird? You just see both versions. I've also watched the sub and dub of both Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball.
Oh, you do not. You forgot the Kai in that verse.
No.
No, Kai was for Dragon Ball Z, not for Dragon Ball. He's talking about the original
Dragon Ball.
I thought when you meant Dragon Ball,
we
just assumed you were talking about Z.
I originally watched it in its original release in the United States, and then I went back and I watched it because I heard at the time when I was younger that everyone was freaking out about like, oh wow, the Japanese is so much better, and then I went and looked into it. It was about the same. I just had to read more, so I pretty much just stuck with what I knew.
I prefer subs. Mainly
I don't know why.
I think there's very few voice actors that can bring out anything, and when
most of the Japanese dub is atrocious. You just don't know how it is because you don't speak the language.
No.
People from Japan bitch about their dubbing all the time. Like, all the time. They're like, I can't believe this character was done in a thug accent. Why is he a thug?
They're talking about dubbing.
Why is this person from Yokihino? Or some shit. Like, they can pick out specific accents. Like, why'd they get a person from here? Why'd they get a person from the rural areas?
Yeah,
it's stupid. That's not the character.
I'm not worrying about this dub. What I'm worrying about is just like what they're saying. I don't have to care what the characters sound like. I kind of like just zone that out.
Why do you care about subs then?
I don't like the dubbing in English for most people.
It's the same thing.
It would be the same with Japanese or German or anything.
Yeah.
You just don't know how to speak the language.
So you don't understand.
I don't know how to speak English.
No, you don't know how to speak Japanese.
So you don't hear the problems with Japanese.
You know,
I
you're,
see what you're saying.
That's the reason that everyone, when they say that's why. You just don't hear the bad parts of it. It's still bad at times. For instance, Goku is one of the worst atrocities ever because they kept the voice actor, and whereas I really appreciate that of keeping the voice actor, that's really honorable, doesn't play well for Goku when he's like this big buff dude now, not a little kid. And it sounds like a 90-year-old woman. It doesn't play well.
But here's the thing, I guess I just zone that out. I can't do that with the dub. I can't zone out the voices. What? When you're just reading the
sub?
How
do you not understand King Kai when he's like, "Oh no, you're attacking my land"?
No, when I'm just reading it.
So do you watch it with no sound and just turn sound on during a fight?
No, I just zone out the voices.
You can
kind of like when I'm playing.
You can turn on the subs.
I would never.
You could turn on the English subs if you wanted to.
Yeah. I could do that, but then you guys would complain. Last time I did that.
No.
Watch the same exact version you do.
We complained when you just randomly.
I complained because you almost watched an entirely different thing. Because fan sub and official sub can be entirely different.
They were both fan sub.
Yeah,
that's even worse.
No, they were the same fan sub.
Yeah, I know, but that if you did watch a different fan sub, that's fan sub to fan sub, that can be even worse.
I know, but that's the reason I first subbing.
That's why in that specific show was like really bad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you watched somewhere else because you could have gotten a different fan sub.
Because it would
and then it would have been completely different. Like you could have translated things completely differently.
Mm-hmm. And for instance, Death Note, where it's super heavy-handed, that Kira becomes a Shinigami in the Japanese version, but in the English version they make it a lot more subtle.
Yeah.
There's reasons that these certain versions are, and I've actually grown a fondness, for instance, in Code Geass, where they tried to make it a bit more vague towards the end, even though it's kind of stupid. Mm-hmm. But the attempt is made to make things more vague and more interesting.
Like, some I can deal with. Like Code Geass, most of them I like. The voice actors. Bandit King Jin, I didn't like the main voice actor at all. Kind of like annoyed me whenever he spoke. Because it was just like, they threw a piece of cardboard at it. And like, talk. And the cardboard did. And it was very boring. Like, a piece of cardboard, you assume a cardboard would be.
I can't even assume how a cardboard would talk. But continue.
Go watch Bandit King Jin again. It's the main character. Yeah. But the Cowboy Bebop's voice actor was great, and I realized while rewatching the movie, because I was rewatching it again because it was a great movie, that the villain's voice actor is the same voice actor from, or some voice actor in there was from Wolverine. I think it was actually Cowboy Bebop himself. I don't know. This is going off topic.
Yeah.
All
right. So, what did you think about this then? Since you went so far onto dubs, what did you think about Dot Hack sign dubbing then?
Sign dubbing? What?
I didn't have an issue with the
Dot Hack sign dubbing, the show you watched.
Okay, so voice actors I like. Super was okay. I had no problem with Super. I actually liked when she spoke. Miru was okay. She was fine. Basically all of the voice actors except I keep forgetting his name, the main character.
Tsukasa.
Yeah, I did not like Tsukasa's voice actor.
That's weird because I would rank Subaru the lowest.
No. I didn't like Tsukasa at all.
Luckily, you don't have to hear him talk too much.
Yeah, that's why I liked his voice actor. He didn't talk too much.
He didn't go off on it.
That's not... We both agreed that that's not a good way to...
No, but that was also, like, that's how he was.
Giving you less to hate.
And I don't see why he was that bad. He was pretty appropriate for what he was.
I think the voice actor actually matched the character well.
Was trying to be ambiguous, was trying to be more towards the male side.
Trying to go both ways, yeah.
Which, it kind of like, By the way, I thought it was
had a
the
little bit of
reverse. I
depressed,
thought it was a
depressed
boy that
tone
was
to it.
raised as a girl.
That would not happen in Japan usually. That would not happen.
You don't know. You just replace a drunk father with a drunk mother.
No, I mean like they have a tendency for males.
Yeah.
Kind of
Yeah,
like
it's
in
kinda
China.
like-
What is it in China where they?
Yeah, kill them.
It's a bad thing to have a single. Like if you have 3 daughters, it's like the worst thing you could ever happen. Well, technically, I think many of them would be dead by that point, but.
Well, it's only a one daughter. Well, it used to be a one daughter policy. If you have more than one, they.
Yeah.
Or I think it was a one child policy.
Child, yeah. So if you had a daughter,
if you have a daughter, it would be the end of your family name because parents take her husband's name, so you always wanted a son.
So you would just kill the baby after it came out and said, "Oh, it died in complications," and then since they had such a population issue, they went, "Yep, okay." You kept retrying until you got a boy.
Here's a new birth certificate. Good job. Do you know where the baby is? We can use themselves.
Yeah, but that's how I thought it was going on. But it was flipped for me, and I was like, "Oh, that's weird."
They have a lot of red herrings in the show.
Yes, they do.
In the beginning, Bear is investigating, and he sees, and he thinks he sees what Tsukasa is because it was appropriate timed. And he's like, "Oh, I think I found Tsukasa." Then he asks, like, "Are you a girl?" And then he's like, "No, I'm a boy." And he's like, "Well, guess that wasn't him. Guess I'll have to keep looking then." And it's
even though I found her.
Yeah, but that's the intent. It tries to confuse you and keep Tsukasa's character ambiguous.
Yeah.
Because it means more for Subaru a bit later and other things.
Yeah, because Subaru thought she was gonna sausage, but she got a nice clam chowder.
I mean, she didn't really care at the end,
Subaru was just more about the connection of both of them.
She just wanted to be with somebody and didn't want to like.
She wanted to be with someone who was like her because she
didn't want to bring down Krim because Krim was like, he's like in his 20s, mid-20s or something.
Oh no, it's just like no.
He's in a business job.
Yeah, he's in his mid-20s.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like no, but it's more about her being attached. He was attached to him because she reminded her of herself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. That's what brought them together. You know, because at first it felt like until you learn that, I was like, this is such a forced like relationship they're trying to throw because it didn't make sense why she was attached to him until you learned that. And I was like, perfect sense, because she's handicapped in real life, and she sees he's handicapped in the game by being trapped here, and she's able to relate to that and have a deeper emotional. Yeah. You know, and that's why they were able to grow so close together so quick. Which again, weird. Her avatar started crying when she was crying. That's just again weird when that randomly happened. You know,
that's
again. There's a mental link with that set, but
also she could be able to walk, but with no mental linking legs.
Yeah.
No, but it's your brain. It's your brain is telling you, because if you could do stuff and you can move around, like take our VR for instance that we have now, that goes through. If people knock shit over and hit shit all the time. They run into walls even with very good distinctions of telling you what is a wall. Mm-hmm. So if you press a button and your body stops moving, but you can still move the headset and stuff, but you can still like move around in the game, then it works better and you don't have those issues because people can literally sit in front of a computer and do it. They can be stationary, which is something you would want in Japan where you don't have much room to move or space, period. So that'd be preferable. That's why that's probably what it is. I have a good feeling. Yeah. Although it's a bit more questionable in R1. R2 it becomes super questionable. But
let's just go with Wolf Rain, where it's not very well explained how the system works.
It's not supposed to be.
It's like, not the part. It's not a premise of the show. But
it's just meant to be like, hey, look, they can move around and do stuff in the show. Yeah. It's a much brighter. It's a livelier world.
Yeah, it's like it's you kind of just look at it the same thing as the illusions.
Yeah.
You pass by and you know, if you get stuck on it, it's gonna ruin it.
Yeah.
Because you're getting stuck on like step 1.
Yeah, I know. I'm joking. I know.
Yeah.
It relates kind of in a similar aspect. That's what I was
because it's a stopping point. If you get stuck on it, it's gonna ruin
it gets stopped really hard. It's like it just kind of annoyed me kind of how far it went. It was like okay, I don't know. That was part like the strong way of which they were doing. I don't know, like that played into like, is this a VR or is this an MMO? Like that kind of helped played into that part. But
yeah, I also realized this show didn't want to actually like. They showed a little bit of action scenes, but not like any.
the show's not
real...
about the action.
It's
The
not
show's
about-
not
yeah.
about the action.
Yeah, I know.
It's a character
So,
study.
It's about the narrative
Yeah, it's about the characters and
All
how they
about
progress
this.
and how they interact with one another.
and how they develop. Yeah, no, it definitely was not meant to be an action show.
No, I understand that, and that's why I'm getting at. I was like, it's not supposed to be character. It's a character-driven show, but you can see how they didn't want to like animate any real action, because you could see the only one I can think of is the where they did like party versus the dumbbell monster, and it was it was done. Some parts were done good, like when they actually killed it, but like when super.
You mean like 90% of the fight was just look kind of like shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they actually.
Well, it
just
was
cut.
mostly BT putting up a barrier, and then them standing behind it and hitting the tentacles that either pierced through or went around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What I think of more when I think of the action scenes in the show is A20 and Mimiru when they went to the dungeon together, and she went back to the dungeon and she's sitting there getting pounded next to a wall, constantly healing herself.
That was fun. That was. I'll give them that. That made me laugh.
Because she froze up.
Yeah, she not only froze up, but she lied about her. So there's no inspecting, apparently. You can't inspect other people.
Yeah, inspect your own party members.
Especially if they're in your party.
So BT20, I'm trying to think of anybody else. Helba, but that's not really necessary.
Alva didn't have enough screen time to really.
Yeah, she was just kind of like this. Oh, look, I'm a hacker. I'm a really good hacker.
No, she was just there to move the plot. That's all she
Yeah.
was in the show. She shows up. Like, we need to advance the plot. Okay, let me.
Her voice actor was amazing. I liked her voice actor.
Again, lack of
Just the
screen time.
one.
I was mad on it.
It was pretty average.
Yeah, I did not think her voice actor was good. She just
I
didn't have
liked
a lot of. She didn't have enough time to start sounding bad. That's just a lack of time.
I like the glass half full analogy on this one. I feel like
okay, but my glass half empty was bad before. Fuck you, sir.
Why are you being so negative,
I made the same analogy earlier. That it was
but here's the difference. I'm assuming from her good work that she would get more good work. You're assuming from their bad work they would.
No. I'm assuming from the lack of bad work that there wouldn't be more bad work.
Okay, let's go on to the next one.
Well, I'm just gonna start with the episodes now because that's basically most of them covered.
Yeah.
One was the character intros, Sora introduction where you see.
We didn't really talk about Bear that much.
He's just a nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
He's
thoughtful.
Bland, very bland character.
He has some really.
His son's a dick. His
Well,
son's an absolute dick.
the only reason his son's really a dick though is you can tell. You can in the one scene he's a dick, but you can see why he's still such a dick to him because he left his mother. Is what happened.
Is that what happened? It was kind of vague.
Yeah, he left his mother.
No. He says you just left.
His sons was like, yeah, you weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, what about your mother? He's like, I think I can handle her more than you can. And, well, the only reason his son's really a dick, though, is because you see him and he's like, how are you doing? He's like, good. And he's like looking off, and that's really the only line you really get to see that he's being a dick. But you also kind of know why. Because that is a really bad thing to do.
Yeah.
And that's why Bear's kind of like, he's trying to redeem himself.
What was his job? Was he a professor?
No, he never says.
All we know is it has
Mimuru
something to
guesses
do with
twice, but he never says.
Yeah.
I thought you said in the OVA.
In the OVA, they hint towards 28. They hint towards BT says he had some more work at the school, but they didn't say what he did. They never mentioned it, and then you had Krim walk up to him and said, "I didn't realize you were a scholar type. I didn't have before. I wouldn't have gone along with you." And then they had that little interaction where he was like,
so you can kind of guess it's like a teacher.
So you can assume, you can guess. So that would be the best guess for the information. Yeah, the most logical guess based off of the information we're given is that he's like a principal or a teacher. But for he could just be a janitor at school. We don't know. Then that's what he says. I had some extra.
Tim could just be an asshole.
maybe BT had a crush on him. Maybe she just pretended he was better than what he was. And he's not going to argue.
Yeah, like there was sort of maybe a relationship at the end.
Yeah, exactly. That was awkward, to say the least.
That was very awkward.
That goes into BT's character more than anything.
I know.
I
We
that.
brushed that under the rug.
Bear has one of the best things in like most shows because it really reminds me of when I was playing games when I was a kid, where he talks about how he reset his old games and he always used to wonder what happened after he loaded his last save. What happened to that universe he left?
Yeah, it was always relatable. That's relatable.
That was super good. I love that.
Got to me. That did get to me.
Because when you think of it like that way, every game you abandon, the evil wins, everyone dies. You're just like, So what if Sora couldn't reset? I mean, no, what if Tsukasa couldn't reset? What if he was stuck in that phrase? What if he was stuck in that forever? He lost and he can't get out of it.
Yeah.
He can't just load the last save like everyone else does. He has to experience it. So it's really... I love that.
Yeah. Oh, it was a cool little, like, perspective swap. It was also kind of funny, though, with the little, like, it was like, again, they were just driving over, like, yes, he's old. We know during that one quest. And he's like, I'm drawing the map. It's like, I must have drawn it wrong. Like, they the same. I must have drawn it wrong.
That was
probably the dungeon was designed in such a way because
they learned to do that.
Yeah, the dungeon was designed to like screw with you when you're doing it because people learned over time. It's like the WoW to get the Lucid Nightmare in WoW. The dungeon's a mindfuck because you hit the end of the map and it loops you back to a previous point, but you can't go backwards, and it also sometimes changes the zones based on your time zone. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah, that also had one of the most awkward character interactions because it's like the same thing twice. Just like, yeah, you suck at map reading or something like that. You think like phrasing
No, they only said he was doing maps once. They and then pass him the first time. When he was like,
the second time
The second time they said you suck. You're not really that good. Tsukasa said that.
Yeah, no, he was like, you're not really that good, are you?
I started laughing.
Yeah, but that was Tsukasa trying to be humorous.
Tsukasa trying to be humorous.
Didn't work.
When he doesn't really know how to. Because
it was only one time anyway. There was one time. Like they did.
She doesn't know how to.
It doesn't know how to.
Stop misgendering her. That's what her father did.
Say Tsukasa. You don't have to.
You're doing the exact same thing her father did.
Combine a real body.
You're just as bad, Gemma.
I like Sora's thought process of I want to get as many allies as possible. Like, I want the strongest ally I can get. For instance, he aligns with the Crimson Knights early on, and then once he realizes they're pretty much useless at that point, he abandons them really quick.
He just kills them.
He goes for Rogue. He goes for Crim.
Because he realized how strong Tsukasa was, so he kills them, tries to get Tsukasa. Then he realizes he can't get Tsukasa, so he moves
bounces to BT because she's the most useful, because she has connections with everyone. And one of my favorite moments, really later on, is when he starts talking about using the Silver Knight as a pawn, and he starts getting used. That's really nice, even though they don't do much out of it. It is really cool because he kind of breaks that bridge real early, where he's like, you fight this monster, I'm out of here.
Yeah, that's great.
Guardian and Bear go at each other at the end of 2, but then Bear gets out of it. Tsukasa's Guardian comes back under control in 3, and then 4, Tsukasa's safe place becomes more deformed. So throughout the entirety of the show, it's pretty apparent now, but after watching, but during the time, the world morphs to how his view of his existence in the world is. So, like, as it starts getting darker,
which was the whole thing
darker,
of
and as
trying
he gets lighter.
See if Aura would be born or not, was the whole point of this story, pretty much. Is he going to have Aura? Is Aura going to be, or is he going to live forever in despair?
Tsukasa loses control of his Guardian later on in that episode, where he starts beating on the, he tries to order the Guardian, and the Guardian starts beating on the other characters, not killing them, just beating them.
Feeding them over and over, just torturing them. I was like, oh god.
Yeah.
Which is what brings the Crimson Knights to act on episode 5, where they actually go out and create it. And then without Tsukasa being restrained in episode 6, Guardians start popping up looking for Tsukasa because she can't find him. So they start looking for Tsukasa, and they start popping up more and more.
Yeah.
This is. Oh yeah, the real world scenes are intentionally meant to be dull and drab, grayed out. I think that's really apparent now, though, because you saw the BT scene where her life is shitty, and then she goes into, well, I guess I'll be BT a bit longer and pops in, and everything brightens up. The only time the real world gets bright is when Tsukasa meets Subaru. It's the only time.
Which was really ambiguous in there.
What?
Huh?
Because, like, right before they meet the handshake, it freezes and Morgana speaks. That ending really confused me.
Oh, you mean the voice, and he had the voice in his head.
Oh.
Yeah, that really confused me.
Nah, he was just thinking back to it. I mean, there's a lot of times where they do flashbacks and they think back to certain scenes to show you what they're thinking of.
Also, I mean, the fact that he was in the game so for so long, the fact that his brain still probably is still slightly programmed, so he might hear her voice.
I know.
Shadow.
That's super late.
Foreshadowing.
That's super
Just
late.
like 3 games and 30 episodes ahead, sir.
This is the first
and then
iteration
2
of
more
Lion,
games.
like, this is the initial. Like, even the Guardians kind of look a bit similar.
I mean, yes. You need to give her another 3 generations to develop her. She's on build 001, and you're talking about build 2.0. Okay? Give it time.
But that ending, though, was a little weird.
What do you mean? The dance party?
Episode.
The dance party.
That was fine.
Okay, continue, Sean.
Episode 7. That's the one where 820 shows up and Miru helps her out.
Yeah, Miru 20.
Where 820's trying to figure out what she wants to do in the world. And first, it's just I want to impress some people, and then ends up being like, oh no, I actually kind of want to adventure and stuff. Miru waits out Tsukasa. BT's out gathering information on the key of Twilight. Twilight, not much to really go about there.
Not really much in This is the issue too. It's it doesn't feel like a lot's happening because they're jumping around to too many.
Because it's really not. It's
taking
a slow pace into she's just sitting here waiting and she's stuck and she's bored and she's trying to.
And they're trying to tell the story through a lot of different perspectives. They jump around a lot during these episodes.
Yeah, they don't tell the story through a character's perspective. I got that more as they were telling the story through the game. Like, this is what's happening in the game, which gave kind of a wonky feel. But I see what they're going.
Yeah,
do I like it? Not as much traditional sense, but I get what they're going.
Sick Grunty episode is up next.
That was the saddest episode ever.
It wasn't sad. It was just kind of like a thing. I was more pissed off at the girl. Why the fuck didn't you vaccinate your Grunty? Did you think it was going to give Grunty autism? What the fuck's wrong with you? It's like,
man, you know how expensive those Grunty vaccines are.
Even the dude's like, why did you vaccinate the Grunty? And everyone's like, what the?
Yeah, that was sad.
That was
a sad episode. I don't like that
really
episode.
Weird.
The only reason
also, I can't believe none of us has talked about the Grunty at the beginning. That he was
the one that flew off.
The edgy Grunty.
No, that.
That was the Grunty. That was the Grunty saying what Tsukasa would feel like at the moment.
Okay, so here's the thing about in the show, everything that happens in the show is doable in the game. For the most part. You can raise Grunties, and when the stable is maxed in a certain town, you can't have an adult Grunty there, so they fly off like that. So that's a normal event, and they always get depressed. Because they can't stay with their owner, so they get super depressed and fly off. And sad music plays. That's intentional. That's because that's in the game. Same thing with the water fountain, where Tsukasa starts slashing at the water. That's talking to him. He's like, "Did you drop the silver axe or the golden axe?" And he just starts hitting him. That's also in the game. But that's
Also, why does Tsukasa use his staff to hit things?
Because it does damage.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be using magic class.
I mean, there's not much point.
It's like me going on build a mage and then deciding that I want to go dual wielding.
Magic's not that strong at all.
And he doesn't really fight any monsters either, so
yeah,
he's just doing basic shit. And the only thing he even swipes out is the one thing. So I don't really see how that's...
Yeah, but we never see him, I don't think, use a spell other than heal.
The only time he heals. He uses the Guardian to fight for him when he's dungeoning.
Yeah.
Just walking around insta-killing everything.
Okay, so episode 10.
Well, I was gonna say I really liked Mimiru at the end, who doesn't really know what happens, and it's just like, no, fuck you. I'm sure he did everything right. What the fuck are you talking about?
Fucking rude of you,
he
man.
did nothing wrong.
Mad at him. Okay, don't you get mad at she. Okay,
because Tsukasa actually went out there and actually felt the cold, and it actually sucked for him to go to that ice world. Still went.
Yeah. Still went and got them bears.
Bear's family troubles.
Yeah.
Bear starts getting a... And also, when he starts talking at the end, when he starts really relating to Tsukasa, he's like... And you hear him drone off on his son and his family situation. Yeah, that was really nice.
But that was Big T. Yeah, that's when BT brought up that, it's like, don't get involved unless you... Oh my god, her big tendencies actually led to something good for what?
We have character development, everyone.
That's saying too much.
Well, BT does have a bunch of... Like, she very slowly throughout the show starts getting abandoned by people.
Yeah.
Because they stop trusting her.
You can see how it starts.
And then it all culminates, I think, 16?
17?
Well, there's
17. Ida gets... Whatever, down Ida. Tsukasa went to an event with Mimiru and Bear. We talked about that already earlier. That was a nice event. The questions were weird to me. We started questing religious foundations.
Yeah.
Then it went straight to movies. That was
and then math. And then I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But granted, considering it was an event that was meant to be a random dungeon.
Tsukasa felt normal was like when when she made the joke. Like, oh, it's got my arm.
That was because it was in the movie. That was in the movie. He was referencing the movie. Yeah.
They're referencing the movie they were talking about. That scene, yeah.
That just makes me think of Sword Art Online Abridged.
Mimiru was just kind of looking at him confused while Bear was like, yeah.
Oh, I get it, yeah.
Yeah, he was like, I get it.
You sly dog. You.
12. Young little person.
After Tsukasa gets back to the world, he starts playing, and he's like, hey, I was doing a lot of really fun things. Morgan?
Mm-hmm. Morgan.
Starts getting really pissed off at him because he's having... He's like, no, you should really stay here, though.
Don't leave her.
So what was her...
I got this cat, man.
It was a girl?
Yes.
No, it's an AI.
It's an AI, but it's programmed to act with a girl's voice.
Well, we don't ever hear its voice.
You do.
You do.
Oh, Maha?
Yeah.
Yeah, Maha's female.
Oh, Maha.
Yeah. We hear it at the OVA, but I don't remember.
No, Maha speaks via text communication.
Yeah.
So he PMs people when he talks.
Oh.
Because he doesn't have a voice in that iteration of him.
Is that why that we can't hear him, or we don't really sing?
That's why you can't hear him.
We can't hear him.
Okay. He's PMing them.
He's being sent as a message. One weird thing, though, was Tsukasa was getting emails, and he could read his emails. I
think it's an overlay in the world.
That was weird.
That's the one that doesn't make sense, because even in the game,
all the games you had to log out. Yeah.
That's the one thing that's
really weird. I was like, I could not figure that out. I was like,
Yeah, I didn't.
Because they kept saying to us, like, I sent them mail. So they would have just said, I sent him a message. I would have been fine with it. I sent mail. It's like, and he got it.
Now, let me post on the message boards real fast here.
No.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, no, that's the thing.
But Tsukasa couldn't do that. He can't see the message boards.
He couldn't read the message boards either. Yeah, that's why I was like, he couldn't read his email.
Yeah.
That's what I was referring to. Also, he couldn't see that he was wanted, which is really ridiculous.
On the message board.
Yeah. Hey, please come get this character, aka 4 Silver Knights. Or Crimson Knights.
There was a lot more than 4 when they captured him. They
were asking for information about his whereabouts. They weren't asking for the character. They probably said very specifically, do not engage. Or something.
They wanted to know about the cat. Until he beat the players up. They wanted him to know. cat, because that's who they were really looking for.
Does it ever go into his backpacks or her backstory?
What?
Like,
yeah. How does she know the cat?
No, the cat's just there.
The cat was there.
The cat was sent by Morgana.
Yeah, Morgana.
Yeah. The cat, Maha is...
to help keep him company so he didn't go completely insane. Because they still
Maha
need to be...
also exists because Ida and Ida's weird and sometimes not. Some things get weirder, but...
He does not know about Ida.
No. But that's like...
Ida doesn't come for a long time.
That's why this sucks that you have to start here, because a lot of the stuff is really fucking cool once you know the later stuff, but you can't really...
Oh yeah, no, but it leads into it way later on. Even the game give you a little bit here about Ida, a little bit there about Ida, a little bit here.
I'm just thinking Digimon now.
Together.
13 is the first step towards the Key of the Twilight, and with the Hidden Forbidden Holy Ground, which is one of the most known places in .hack. You see Hidden Forbidden Holy Ground all over the place.
Oh my lord!
Is that
That's the church?
That's the church. Okay. It's the floating church in the...
Yeah.
Has one really cool scene with the Eye of the Twilight.
Yeah. Alright, no.
Uses the thing and...
Yeah, which the whole entire trick is that it's used for basic spell.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not, you don't go to those fields anyways. See, the way how it works in this, they ever say this, is that you combine 3 random words.
Yep.
And you get a world that you get warped to. So, out of thousands and thousands of words, combine 3 of them, get to this one field. It's very unlikely anyone's go there, and anyone who did went there would probably go in the church, see that there's nothing there, go pop a fairy orb in the church, nothing happened, and went like, alright, fuck it, and leave. That's probably what most people did. Or just left the moment they went there, because it's like, this place is in the field, this is worthless. I don't see a dungeon in there, I'm out. Mirrored Dungeon, which is a really cool area, where they're all chasing each other. It has a cool thing because all the teams are going up against each other. BT sending Sora to go get Krim, while still working with Krim. Even though Sora knows, and Tsukasa and Mimir and Bear are all chasing him. Trying to get to the end really quick. Have some really... Hisori gets to use his humor where he's like, I'm gonna go get you! And then he gets to the end and he sees that there's nowhere to go. He's like, ah! And he runs back. 15 was disappointing for me because it was filler. I forgot there was filler.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm really disappointed right now. Why is it showing? Okay, there has to be something new here, right?
No.
Right? No.
I skipped.
It's especially right after. Yeah, I skipped at the moment.
I realized it and I skipped.
Yeah. No, I was told not to skip anything.
If it's 100% filler, dude, I told you to skip the filler in Wolfsrine too.
Yeah, you told me to skip. You didn't tell me to skip anything.
You could have skipped 80% of the show then.
You were mad when I skipped.
I'm joking.
Tsukasa gets data drained.
Yep. It was really... I've seen the hentai notice it going.
Data drained, and afterwards, considering how fragile his existence is, and it was like, rah.
Like,
oh man, this sucks.
Before. I'm Linkin Park status, boys.
17 BT gets dumped by Krim, which is great. It's a great scene.
They weren't really even going out.
Well, she wanted to. No, that's why she wanted to be in real life.
It was a confession. That's what.
She's like, hey.
Hey. It felt weird though. Again, it's like they had that strong of a connection.
That's one of the reasons that Krim is like, no.
That's what was weird about it. It's like, where did she even get the idea that works?
See, I got my heart out for
I think
it might have just been desperation, but
she might have been getting divorced in her papers. I don't know.
But
I also like just inferring from the real life scenes more than I like knowing.
Yeah,
because it leads it more open to what she's doing, what's happening.
Yeah, so like from that, what I felt like it was her. She's just a single, like working woman trying to find love in this deserted world, and Krem
is the biggest bitch while doing it.
Yeah. Well,
you know what? The thing is that I don't think Bear and BT get together because Bear is much older than BT.
Well,
BT's like in her 30s.
Age is just a number.
It is.
Bear is in his 50s.
40s. He's in 47.
47.
You
Yeah.
know what?
47.
If BT was 9 years older and same age.
Also, how old is 8th grade?
14.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Mimaru is 16. Okay.
Yeah, Mimaru was like freshman / sophomore in high school.
Yeah. Because Mimaru's dad's like 47.
No. It's because it's the episode you didn't see. Was Mimaru's backstory, because we skipped because we were also otherwise going to have to take this. And that was basically she ran into other players. I'll get to that later on.
I watched that.
Huh? You watched 27?
Watch 27?
Oh,
yeah.
Hold on. Somebody doesn't listen to you, Ruddy.
Yeah, because no, I told him to skip it. I was like, you should just skip it, man. Like, you don't need too much. We can just gloss over that.
Oh.
We talked about
was this one where BT gets? I think 17 is where BT gets. I was vague on this. BT goes out and says, "You know what? Fine, I'm gonna help other people. Maybe I'll get a new group." And she goes out into a dungeon to help those two, and just Kids is like, "Nope, we're gonna kill you now. You can't really do anything." Then Tsukasa comes in and is like, "Oh, sorry, did I interrupt?" And he's like, "Nope." I actually saved my ass, but she's that's like the one time she's nice to Tsukasa.
And then they have the little moment. She stops being such a bitch. She's still a bitch, but
no, from this point on she is, until she gets still much later.
Yeah.
Lady Subaru's trying to pull away from the Knights. In the next episode, then Silver Knight's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna do stuff."
I'm gonna
and
find
then we
my
have
own
Subaru
justice.
just saying, "You know what? You're not gonna listen. I'm just done with this. Disbanded."
All
And
those
Silver
trans
Knight's
mobs
just like, "Fuck."
That was such an awkward, like, the argument. I don't know what to call it at this point. That was so awkward though, the interaction during that whole scene.
Well, it was just Subaru saying like, "This is what the Knights stand for," and Silver Knight not getting it. Was the entirety of the scene.
Yeah, I get it, but he's
like, "No, we should be a police though," and then she's like, "No, we're not. We can't be. That's the admin's job. We're just here to assist."
And then
We're
he was
players.
like
We
no,
should be
the whole
having
thing.
fun.
The whole thing was like when he went on the whole thing, like, "Who are you to judge these people?" Because you're like,
"Do you think you are a god?"
Yeah, that was the best. I laughed. I literally watched that one.
What is a god?
Because he's so full of himself.
Believe you.
He thinks he's
Like, I
won
would've
it too.
loved
He
her to
thinks he
say-
won.
I would have
Yeah,
loved her to
you know when you're
I'm a man, and be like, "What is a man?"
A miserable, violent,
secret.
you know what was the best
Talk.
part? You knew when he would pull himself because his eyes grew brighter. that was the best part for me. It was like, oh, he's getting his serious mode on.
BT and Sora start using the Crimson Knight, the remnants of the Crimson Knights with Silver Knight, to get more information. Steal
He was
information
also
from Tsukasa
special
and stuff.
because he had horns on his helmet.
He was the
He was the
one who was
highest
promoted
ranking
to captain.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was the
He
captain
was-
of
he
the
was-
group, so that he has a signifying.
he's number 2. He was number 2 when Krim left. He
behind
became
the
number 2.
useless character. That was
What?
just there for moral reasons.
Who?
Supra.
Subaru was number 1. Yeah.
Subaru was there to
She's
be
the leader.
guider, to be the
Yeah.
guidance. Even though she's
just
not that
for
strong,
moral.
she was there
Just
to guide.
because she was a low level, got beat up by some random person, and some reason her clothes got torn up very provocatively.
Because it's
and
battle damage.
decided to cry on Tsukasa.
All people have that. Just no one ever gets hit that bad. Or when you get one hit KO'd, you don't really. You just turn gray and you fade out. But when you get hurt, like brought down to 0 HP, like brought down to 2 or 10 HP out of 100, that's when it happened. So I'm assuming the heavy axe just started beating on her without the weapon, is what I'm assuming happened.
How dare you? I want to be the pretty girl.
No, she was
dare
pissed
you.
off, and she was also a
Yeah.
PKer. So,
Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with
which
that.
heavy axe isn't exactly the best class to PK with, but
Hey,
Yeah, she made it work.
there's nothing wrong with that.
All
Why you
that
gotta
matters,
make fun of PKers
Doesn't
and
matter.
axes right now?
yeah, all that matters
Is
is the numbers.
this a hit piece against me?
you're not a PKer.
I
You're
would be.
not.
I would be.
No, you're not.
With a heavy axe. As a lolly.
You're definitely not.
No. BT's
Yada.
Tsukasa gets fucked up. Oh yeah, also Subaru realizing she's crippled after she was attacked.
Yeah.
They go into how... Is it... Who tells Tsukasa that? Bear?
It's
No,
Krim.
it's
Krim was the only
Krim
person.
tells
Krim's the only
Tsukasa
one who
that.
knows, yeah.
Yeah,
He was
Subaru was crippled.
And she's been crippled for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's why she plays the world, because it's the only place she can feel free and she can go do what she wants, you know? And it's like, okay.
I like when you see how the cat PC isn't...
Legs.
I like when they start showing up that the cat PC isn't actually malicious. Like, fully malicious, it's just kind of being brought in, where it's like, it has moments where it's like, hey, isn't this a bit too far? And she's like, no, it's not enough, Maha. Keep going. And he's like,
I'm a kitty cat.
Dad. But he's my daddy, and you're my pussy.
Balmog, second Halba meetup. Balmog shows up in 22 for like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Sora sneaks in with the cat PC. Just, got you! He just grabs him and warps him in. He's like, ah.
Again, more randomness of Sora, which is just the entertainment of this show's. This whole show's random entertainment just around him.
Tsukasa got fucked up in the episode prior. I skipped on that, and the girl is disappearing because Morgana realizes Tsukasa's having the proper influence on her, so she pulls him away, and also just decides to cripple him with a heavy data drain, and just say, "Nope, you're out of here."
Yeah, time to
make
you just break you. I don't need you anymore. I don't need you. You leave her, girl.
This girl will never be woken.
The story.
She is the perfect Snapchat model.
Casa is the devil. Casa's the devil.
Stolen bra thing. They travel through the Helba Gate. 23. Then you get to Netslum, which is also another very prominent place.
Yes.
Netslum that gets attacked by the other Guardians. Then Tsukasa's shows up because Tsukasa's, I believe, was created by Maha. Tsukasa's actually defends.
Yeah.
Tsukasa, because it's I like them because it's like it's an AI, it's a simple script. So if the script is defend Tsukasa, it would have that reaction to another Guardian that is designed to attack Tsukasa.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I was just like,
it was really sad when the poor whale noises died.
Well, it's not sad. It's a machine. It's also like the Grunty. It's like a thing that exists. It's sad because, like, for Tsukasa, it's sad because he felt the dying Grunty and he's felt the dying Grunty die. And it was like, oh god.
In that world.
Yes, and you heard
but
the
for
whale
a player,
noises.
it's not really that sad. It's like, well, it died.
Mm-hmm.
The Guardian,
I remember it was like, oh, bitch, back the fuck off, my man. Or not, we use it. And then she sold her to Subaru. You're a bitch.
Maha deals with the 3 Guardians in the church.
Yep.
Killing himself because he has so much data. They try to drain him and then he just nukes him.
Kill himself. He drained himself into a new avatar.
Yeah, he drained himself into a different state and doesn't remember anything anymore.
And everything.
Yeah, and now
I love Maha, whatever it is. When I get main character from the other game. Main character from the game. Sora ends up becoming the avatar of Skaith, which is probably one of the coolest fucking things.
Yeah.
Because
wait.
Skaith was the thing that. Yeah, later on. It's the thing that Sora becomes after Morgana. Like,
well, no, it's Haseo.
Do with the twin blade.
Oh, yeah. Where he
the
gets
thing
crucified?
with the cross. No, it's not crucified, but he gets put on the cross weapon. Because that's intention. When you get put on the cross weapon, you get data drained. That's why Sora immediately went to a coma, because he was data drained.
It was data drained. Mm-hmm.
But that's why it's really cool, because when you see Skype, he becomes the avatar of it, and it's like, oh shit. So, for people who know the games, this is more impactful. Scythe, you don't want to fuck with. It's like the worst thing you could possibly run into in the world. Like when you see Scythe, you move the other way. You leave the zone.
You just leave that.
You don't stay there.
Pray he's not back there when you
because it's the most aggressive thing in the entirety of the game, and it's created purely to be malicious. It's why.
No.
It's why in GU.
Don't want to kill you.
Yeah.
No.
It's why in GU, Haseo looks like so much of an edgelord nowadays, because he has Scythe. Literally the nightmare of the world inside, and that's why he's so much stronger than everyone else. Because Scythe is way more threatening.
I don't know who you're talking about or what you're talking about.
Scythe.
It could also. He doesn't know about. He doesn't know about the other character.
I know, but we're talking about
He doesn't know about
Haseo.
Haseo.
Scythe, that's
the character you don't get to see do anything because Helba does a really fucking smart thing.
Level 50s. So that's also not fair because that's also just
the lightning guy. Scythe from like the Azura Sky?
No, the Scythe was the giant monster that attacked.
It was the monster that was about to attack him, and then Helba nukes the world. Nukes the zone that they were in. She teleports Aura out, and then she nukes the world. That is the net slum. Because she's like, nope, don't know what this is. This is really strong. I'm just getting rid of it.
It's like, there's a lot of data, and nope.
Control-Alt-Delete.
Gonna nuke this. And that was really fucking cool. Because as somebody who knows how strong Scythe is, that's probably like the best decision you could have possibly made there.
Yep. Not gonna deal with this at all. It's like, I wish I had that. I wish a second I seen Scythe in a story dungeon. I could say that situation. But you can't.
You guys are nerd fanboying over the video games?
27. 27 has the 3 players with the 1 character, which is a really cool concept because it's like the early versions of the world. Yeah. So it's like when the world just came out, having a bunch of people playing 1 character would get you super fucking strong really quick.
Which is a question, like, if they're all controlling the same
They're not all controlling the same character. There's 1 person controlling the character at all times.
The other one's just hanging
out. Yeah. They're watching, they're still seeing the same thing. And they probably could fight, but they know not to because the other person doesn't control. So it's like, I gotta go take a piss. Alright, then I'm just gonna start playing instead.
Yeah, exactly. When one's at school, the other one's playing, and when that person goes to work, the person at school come back and start playing. They'd always have somebody on.
So you had a really super fucking strong character.
Yeah.
The weird thing is that the difference between Mimiru's young character and old, it's like it's like she's like 10 and then she turns into
16.
Yeah,
16, 18. Her character looks like she's 18 something, like 20ish, early 20. And it's like, Jesus, you just fucking like flew up that age.
Did they must have given out a character edit token. Let you remake your character, and she chose to keep 9% of her stats. And like chose not to change her name because fuck Monster Hunter Worlds.
Yeah.
Oh, someone's salty about being called Hunter.
Yeah.
Hey, man, one day we'll figure out why Reddit is incredibly offensive.
How is R-U-T-T-E-D a bad word, but it's a good word?
Because you're a bad person.
You know what? You're a bad person, and poison or pie isn't declared a bad word.
Yes, because if you went to go order something... No. Fuck you. I spelled it. It's the right way.
Kill people. So boom.
No, Reddit. Here's the difference. When I go up to order something and it's called Reddit, I ask why. If they want to go to pie, but it's ... because it's... No.
What?
Okay,
well,
I'm glad you stopped.
Okay, no.
I'm glad you stopped. You stopped. Continue, Shadow.
The finale episode was nice. I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it at all. It was a fun.
It's one of those send-offs. That's fine.
Yeah, it was a good send-off. It just, again, just the place of it in the timeline was just really awkward.
The weirdest thing is I don't even think it's at the end of the games either. I think it's like at the midpoint.
But no, because they talk about giving up the ring, though.
Yeah, and
I think that's talked about in the
games
games at one point. I don't know.
I don't think it is.
And they also introduced like 8 characters that have no clue what they do.
Those are in the game.
Those are in the games. That's why. That's what we were talking. That's what we were talking about. The awkwardness of when the time in the game was. Yeah. Those characters came in the game.
It is like a year or 2 after their thing has been done, though, because Sukasa's in
in
college?
school already.
Yeah, he's in private boarding, whatever.
And then
He's
you see
off doing his
Sora
thing.
cry. It was really sad.
Well,
Because
Well,
Sora's left
Sora-
all alone.
because
Has no
he was a
friends.
dick, and then Tsukasa forgave him.
Yeah.
And they're all like, oh, and then he's like, oh, cool. I can have friends.
I can do monkey dance. Do the
It's
monkey
too late. I
Do
got
the
realized I
monkey
was a dick
dance.
when I was a kid. And I'll probably be a
he's
dick
still
when
a
I'm
kid.
older.
Well, he was still a bit of a dick. I mean, he was still going to female players and asking for their member addresses.
You remember address or else you'll lose 2 hours of progress, baby.
Hey, that's a deal.
No, it's
I-
not.
I still loved though during the show whenever they had to deal with her. They just sent Mimiru and she's like, but
I don't want to.
Oh, no, he's creepy.
And even when they start insinuating it later, she's like, nope. Y'all can go fuck yourself. I'm not doing that.
No.
Guy's a creep.
Then every time she's there, she's like, God damn it, how am I here? How do they always talk to me?
I'm just
I don't
gonna
know,
wait
for
down
whatever
here.
reason, it was nice seeing the parallel characters dancing next to each other. It was kind of funny. Kinda
What,
neat.
Sora and Super?
Black Rose and Mimiru
Yeah,
in
also,
particular.
it's like, I always thought, face swaps were common. And this one, they just said, okay, we're not even animating doing a color palette swap.
Well,
I'm very
Mimiru,
slight
well,
one of
BT
that.
is different from Mimiru in character design, but it's slight, and it's like one of those things where Subaru, there are character models. There's only a certain number. You can, and that's how it works in the world. Is you change the palettes, and you can change slight tunings, like BT,
face
like
paint.
Mimiru's chest piece is different than Black Rose's.
Mhm.
Hers is more calm. Where
Oh,
Black
you
Rose's
mean
has
bra.
like
Don't call it a chest piece.
no, it's a chest piece.
bra.
She's a blade master.
It's
No,
a
it's a-
bra.
It is a bra.
Not a chest piece.
It's a chest
That
piece, just
covers-
like how
that
just
covers
how
chest.
Shadow, that is not armor.
Bear isn't wearing armor either. They're both blade masters.
Yes, but you wouldn't call that one
They still
strap.
have equipment on.
You still
know.
wouldn't say
They
though,
still
he
have
has
the
a
chest
blue
pieces on. The only item that changes how you look is either a class change, which I don't know if they existed in the first one,
Not in the first one, I saw it too.
Or-
and it's only for one class for some
or-
reason.
or blades, weapons and stuff change. Weapons change, but for the most part, I think you can change your colors. I'm not certain, but basically, it's like trimmings and stuff you can change.
Yeah. And it's still kind of awkward how Subaru and I'm never gonna know that name. Sakaya.
Oh, Tasaka.
What about it?
Sasaka.
What
very
did you like
awkward.
about them at the end?
I don't know. In my mind, they would be perfectly normal if there was a guy and a girl, but it's not. It's two girls, and I'm okay if they're lesbians.
No, it's just meant to say that's how good of friends they are. How close their friendship is.
It's a little bit too close.
They're able to be open with. Well, technically, there was a study done, and women, or actually married people, are closer with their best friend than their spouse.
I did not know about that.
That is a
Shows
fact.
you how shitty marriage is nowadays.
Yeah, that is an actual fact. Over 60% of people would rather go and talk and hang out with their best friend than their spouse.
Yeah, that's what gave rise to bromances.
Yeah, man. Not men and women.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the decline in marriages that we're all waiting.
So, wait. So your problem was that two girls liked each other.
Yeah, if
You just didn't like how close and physical they were with each other. I think they're wrong.
if
They do love each other. That's a thing.
Yeah, that's not okay. So they are lesbians.
They are romantically engaged. Yes.
Okay, that's fine. I'm okay.
I would not say they're romantically engaged. They never really
Oh.
went into the. They never went
see,
into the.
that's the thing.
That is
Me and
objective.
Shadow get that vibe.
I would
am
say they are.
perfectly.
I just think they're good friends. I don't think they're romantically.
See, if
I
they're
think
good
I
friends,
think they're really close.
I feel like they're too touchy. Like they're just teetering on the case of being lesbians.
Have you
If they're lesbians,
seen,
that's fine.
Have you seen BFF girls? Girls BFFs? They are very touchy with each other.
No, I usually don't hang around girls with BFFs. I really don't. I'm sorry, Reddit.
I'm just saying they are very touchy. They are very willing to hold each other.
Yes, but look longingly into each other's eyes.
Yes. Half the time they accidentally make out with each other.
Okay, this is getting on something different. Maybe they were drunk. Maybe they are.
So final thoughts on the show.
Okay.
Anyone have anything to say?
No, that was the only problem. The dancing was fine, and
it was a good old school show. You know, it was a nice change. It's a nice change of pace. You know, shows you where anime has come and where it needs to go back. You know, the narrative. I felt like great music. Yes, I felt like the narrative again. I didn't like the approach to it. I don't mind that they were jumping around. I felt like they did it too much. You know, and I feel like that really kind of made the story harder to follow. Maybe slim off on the
Crimson Knights.
Definitely slim off on the Crimson Knights. Maybe just kind of slim off and.
It's like if they gave you a story.
I would have preferred if each episode would have just like stuck with a character rather than jumping around every episode in the middle of the episodes.
Yeah, no, it's just like instead of you getting to choose what you see, there's a kid that you look through, and the kid has ADHD, so he wants to jump around to everything.
No, that's modern movies. No, don't even. That's modern film. Modern film is atrocious. Any fight scene in any current film. Just garbage.
Are you talking about like regular fights, like movie fights?
About Infinity War.
Tony Stark dies.
No, the amount of cuts, the amount of edits, the amount of strobes, it's hideous.
Hey, what do you got against strobes?
When the scene is 90% black and then you have white flashes showing off, it looks cool when it's stylized, but most don't do it stylized.
Yeah. What was that one?
From the story point perspective, they made the story a lot harder to follow than it needed to be because of how much they were switching perspectives. A lot of time jumping around. Truthfully, like they could have skipped a lot of the jumping and still got all the same character development and still got the same narrative impact.
If they just restructure it.
If they just would have put a little bit more thought into how to approach it. You know, because it was just like an unnecessary switch that just ended up wasting a lot of.
The only scenes that I think could be cut and would make an improvement is the Subaru standing on a boat scenes, primarily. Dealing with the Silver Knights.
Those never knew.
You could cut most of those out.
Yeah.
Still be perfectly fine.
No, Red like Shadow, then you never got the light.
Could have been cut out.
No, you still got that song.
When? One time
I remember. Other times.
Was it?
Yeah.
One time I remember it was in the boat scenes.
Because nothing else was happening.
Yeah.
And you were only listening to the music.
Yeah. I was already zoning out. Actually, I wasn't zoning out.
So, you know, again, as I was saying, so besides that, the narrative perspective, I think the story itself was fine. You know, it's, again, it's just a lot of foreshadowing because it is just a very, and I say very, because it is a very small tip of this story. So, you know, I just felt like they need to be a little bit more direct in telling it, especially since it's, I assume it was intended to be more expansive from the beginning with the way they told it. So I felt like they should have been more direct in the first initial path to make sure the story was clear to people before they started jumping into the games and other anime. So they knew exactly what they're getting into with the story, and it makes it easier to follow. So that's my issue with the show. Overall, I'll give it a 6. You know, I think it was good, but I'm not gonna go recommending it.
Well,
all right, boys.
It's kind of like the opposite of what when you said .hack and Reddit just cringed. The hardest cringe.
No, because because Roots is really bad in the beginning, and that's all we watched.
Okay.
Roots.
It's the original show before. This is my first time watching the show.
So
I watched all the .hacks.
I feel like this game has the Kingdom Hearts effect, apparently, where you have
they never released anything.
No, I don't know if it has also that.
Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming next year, guys. We swear. 10 years later, next year, guys.
Don't worry.
Hey, we've seen videos of
This
it.
is not gonna be Half-Life 3. We promise. We have 11 people working on it.
We can count to 3. We can do it.
1, 2,
F you.
2.5,
F you.
2.75. Drink up distance. It's hard. But
Go
no,
ahead.
where a lot of their stuff their narrative jumps around from thing to thing. So it's like if you wanted to watch the whole entire story of Kingdom Hearts, you'd do a lot of DS games in the middle, and also in the PS3 to play like if you wanted like the complete story. And then
you'd play like 2.8 and 2.9, I believe, are the full.
No,
1.5 or 2.5. But
the thing about 3.0 apparently is taking some major story aspects of a Korean desktop app Kingdom Hearts game. Yeah, it's that bad. Or a Japanese is what I'm thinking. Maybe not Korean. But it's kind of like that thing where you have to kind of like not only if you want to experience the whole entire story, focus on the movies, not the movies, the shows, but also the games. So that kind of nicks my grading. But overall, it was a good story.
Well, you're not at that point yet, though. So that's future. So that shouldn't affect your rating. Now we're going to talk.
Well, no, I just hate that type of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like to the
I
point where
absolutely adore it, because what this tries to do is like, here's the story in sign, and then when you get to the games, it's like, okay, now play the action. You get to do all the action.
Then they slowly expand. Then
see, I feel like it's the exact opposite. I hate multi platform more media.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that. So it nicks my grade on anything that does it. Even Kingdom Hearts. Even though I love the series, I hate what they do as marketing.
Man, you must despise Dark Souls.
No. Also, yes.
What about all the author? What about all the author notes? What about all the comments on the drawings and the concept arts? What about all the behind-the-scenes comics that get released? Have you read the Dark Souls manga, Poison?
There's a Dark Souls manga,
and there's a Dark Souls comic book.
Then yes, that makes it too. But I don't think that's the main story. I feel like this was just something they released.
Those have some pretty serious stuff in it at times.
I'll read it.
To the fact where people are yelling and screaming that it's not canon because it fucks up so much shit. But
I'll read
it's never been talked about.
And then I'll get back to
when
you.
the author breaks their own canon? Yes.
Yeah,
Hi, Super. How are you? I see you.
I'll pet you later.
Don't worry. We're going to introduce you to
We're going to try to make the whole entire thing where people are sad that you're going away, but we're really happy that you're going away.
Some people really like Super.
Yeah, and that's their right.
Mm-hmm.
They probably weren't around for the beginning of Z.
Or any of Z.
Or GT.
Where, like,
Screw fighters are making Vegito super kicky. I freaking hate when Vegito's super kicky. I hate it.
That was just his auto combo. So here's the thing: if you don't do his auto combo,
if
you get good and stop doing auto combos.
And it was based off Vegito Blue, who isn't even kicky in the show. That was against Majin Buu. They literally took Vegito Blue and gave him Vegito's fighting style, which are
what did he really do against Fuse Zamatsu, Reddit?
No one cares because that fight was one of the worst fights.
He didn't do the stupid little kick combos because that was arrogant Vegito.
Yeah.
Buu, where he sat there for 40 minutes, literally mocking Buu. It was great.
Okay, but
sorry.
By the way, there's a manga that goes into if they actually held to their guns and they never defused.
Yeah, there's tons of shit.
Yeah, there's also one about cool. There's also a manga about if someone took over Yamcha's body and it made Yamcha super strong because he knew what was coming in the story. Mm-hmm. That was a funny one.
Yeah, I'll tell you about that one before I go to bed.
I read that one, but I already read that one.
Yeah. But I love the soundtrack. It was a great soundtrack. Mm-hmm. I love the some of the characters, not the main character, but some of them. I love Bear. I thought he was just like the cool dad.
I think you just like his name, Bear.
I also like his name, Bear. So I would say 7. I would recommend it, but it mainly gets those -3 from the multi-platform and from the main character not having any personality until like the end, or a personality I just didn't like, because he had a personality technically. Everyone has a personality.
Yeah, his personality was created because he literally had someone in his head making him depressed 24/7 and making his life miserable. Okay.
I know, but I still didn't like it.
Hey, you know the one thing you like? Tentacles. Do you still like this thing? Do you still like this thing?
You love
Do you still like it?
The Guardian's the best monster in the game.
We forgot to talk about Sora when he was getting tempted. Trying to get tempted by a Morgan. And he's like, here, take this monster. Don't you want this monster?
No.
You'll be the strongest in the game. He's like, no, I'm good. But she's like,
I'm already the strongest. She's like, what?
I'm gonna double cross you. Haha. Goodbye. Oh no. God help me.
Oh no.
Why? He's like, and also, why did she wait till after everybody but Sora left?
I think.
Why did she activate it half a second earlier?
Because it's not advanced. This is the earliest form of it. So I think it was just like not knowing what they would do, because she was still ready to yell at them more, and they just kind of left, and she was like, but you were supposed to stay. Why did you just leave?
So, by the way, so what have I been getting out of what you guys have been saying is that this Ida thing maybe controls people, like their real brain?
It does a lot.
Okay.
It does that. It gets explored a lot more in GU.
We don't want to get into Ida right now. That is
like
about
a game.
80 hours. That's like 80 past what we are.
Yeah, that's after Roots, maybe.
I'll let you guys decide how you are gonna run me through this, because I'm the newbie. You guys are.
I don't like.
You guys.
I'm gonna scroll up to show like the one.
I don't want to go through these dark days, but you know,
like the one thing that I have of like the guide through .hack is so confusing. It's just like I'm just gonna do my own, because some of the movies you don't really need to know. You just need to know what timeline they're in.
Stronger.
Okay, so
that will be five episodes of this. We'll just get on. We'll be like, Haseo, you must get stronger.
I think the Haseo one we're gonna do a 2-weeker. It's gonna be a 2-weeker.
Okay.
I don't think that's gonna be a 1 week.
Come on, man, you must get stronger though.
That one's gonna be a grind for everyone.
Shadow, what's yours?
This is one of my favorites. I've only seen it once before. It's not like West Room. I've watched it like 4 or 5 times. I've only seen it once, and I really liked it. Watching it again didn't really hurt much, because I still forgot a bunch. For instance, I for whatever reason thought Mimiru was Tsukasa's love interest, and I just basically replaced Subaru with Mimiru in that end scene in my head for whatever reason, and this doesn't work.
Awkward.
Even though she is motherly and she does protect Tsukasa, it's not to the degree of like
love.
Yeah, it's just like I want to make sure this guy gets out, because I'm worried about them more so. And where Subaru is, I want to protect because this is the first time I'm able to protect somebody. It is nice, and it makes more sense. The music has always been my favorite. I bought the OST because I thought it was the game OST originally, and I absolutely loved it, and so I had to go see it. And I caught it a couple times on Adult Swim, and then just said, fuck it, I'll buy the DVDs. Bought the DVDs, watched the whole thing back then. Absolutely loved it, still do. Unfortunately, can't use any of the music because it's being copywritten to hell and back, but
I can sing it.
It's with the story, the animation, everything works and plays out well for me. I would probably, and plus it's one of those shows that I like a lot, where it focuses more on the characters and their interactions with other characters in the story, which should be pretty obvious by now that this is the kind of thing that I'm more tilted towards, the characters and their interactions in a group. So I'm gonna have to go. It's not quite on the artistic level that Wolf's Rain is, but it's a bit more attachable because it's more forgettable in ways. So I'm gonna have to go 8.
Okay.
It's above in a lot of places, but also falls behind some of the other giants. So it's not quite a giant, but it is pretty close to him, I think. However, the series as a whole ends up being like a 9, but this isn't about the whole series.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Hey, the roots could be the -1.
I think Roots take away. I think we take a point away from Roots for every time he says, "Haseo, you must get stronger."
-2068.
Okay, it's like, okay, fuck on. He's just negative a point every time he says, "Boom." All right.
The problem is he's so much better in the game too, because he just shows up like 3 times.
Yeah, and he doesn't say, "Haseo, you must get stronger," every fucking episode. And then at the end, when Haseo got stronger, he leaves. Sorry, I know we shouldn't get into that yet.
And then he gets data drained, so he has to get stronger again.
It tilts me, and then tilts me, and then tilts me, and then angles me a little bit more, so I kind of feel tilted, but I'm not quite tilted. But I've already been tilted so much, I'm already back being not tilted. I didn't think that was possible.
After this, I'm thinking I'm probably going to start working on the game. I'll see how that works out. Probably terribly.
Okay.
But I'll start working on that, see if anything can come of that. Poison, I believe it's your turn to recommend what's coming up.
Yes, we already know what he's talking about.
It is.
Phosphorus.
Rocks. This one's gonna rock, I swear.
It's gonna rock me like a...
But I don't want to muddy the water here.
I don't know, man. You're kind of weighing us down as it is.
That was a soil joke. But me explaining it kind of soiled that one.
Yeah. I was to say, are there shit people in this?
Nah, well, I would have to grant it to you that is an interesting viewpoint on that subject.
You're pulling too hard.
Yeah.
You're like my dentist when he was putting on my fucking crown.
My dentist tried to teach me a lesson by drilling my teeth with no Novocaine.
Go ahead and put a link to it in the chat.
I don't know that I need to look it up.
All right, you know what? I got work tomorrow, so I'm going to sleep. You figure out the name of it, put it in Discord, and I'll start it like in the next day or two.
Rock girls.
Later, guys.
See ya.
No, not anime.
Well, actually, it's 15.
Oh shit. 3 more.
2 more.
No, you said 13.
It's 12, actually. I misspoke.
Yeah. 2 less.
I'm assuming it's gonna say that. I don't know if there's a non-TV version of this or if that should even be.
What is Silver Knight doing in that photo?
I got some really good ground here. Do you see the ground? Do you see Lady Subaru's boot? It's very beautiful.
Can you see these deals? I got 2 boxes to sell. They're already gone. Look at these boots. I made these boots. I'm so proud of my little girl. For some reason I want to have a relationship with her because I thought that was important. Okay. Key of Twilight. What? What was your
really
class?
Listen to when I'm talking.
I know I was listening.
That was really early when we started talking about the.
When we went through the episodes.
No, when we were talking in the beginning about the music.
Oh, are those the songs?
Yes, I talked about that earlier.
That's good. I listened to you.